I was in talking stage with my husband, right, for about 6 months before I officially said yes, I will be your girlfriend. Or I'm ready to talk about a relationship with you. But what were the things that I saw, or the three things that I felt were very important to me that I checked out before I was able to say yes to him? And I want to share that with you today, you watching me, because these three things are very key, they are very germane before you move from talking stage to dating stage. Okay, before you officially become his girlfriend or fiance. Now, before I get right into it, my name is Blessing Ekundayo. I am the confident woman, and if you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm glad to have you here. So I'll dive straight into it. Now, my husband and I met online, okay, and there were so many things that were going on at the time in my life, and there were so many guys on my case because I'm a beautiful girl, of course. But there were some things that I made sure that I was looking for and I saw in him before I said yes to him. And I would like you to pay attention to these three things, because if you are yet to go into a relationship with a guy, these three things are very, very critical. Now, what's number one? My number one was connection. See, connection, by connection I don't mean like, oh, love at first sight or whatever you guys talk about, right? I mean connection in terms of that connection that developed out of consistent and regular communication. We were having conversations nearly every single day. Yes. So that conversation brought out a lot, or showed me a lot about who this kind of person is, who this man is, who this guy is, right? I could see that he was spending, it was intentional about wanting to spend time with me. At the time he was in Singapore, I was in Nigeria, he was doing his masters then. I was just about to get into study medicine to university. And but I could see that he was intentional about taking time out of his busy schedule then. It would be early morning then in his time, and to be night at my time. So we were both sacrificing things, time especially. Sometimes he will miss his lecture just because he wanted to talk to fine babe, right? And what I saw about the connection was there was a lot to talk about. We realized that we had quite a number of things in common, and we're just, there was a lot of good rapport, right? It wasn't someone that, oh, talk to you today and then you not hear from him until next month. Hi, I'm just checking up on you. I mean, what's that? That's nonsense. Someone that will just chat you up when he's bored. No, that's just a waste of time. There's no point to get into a relationship with someone who is not going to be emotionally present or available for you. So for him, my husband was very, very intentional. He was available. We could have conversations that would go on for hours, like serious hours. Yes, right. So that connection was there. That communication was there. I could tell him a lot of things. I could ask him questions. He could ask me, was asking me questions. So I saw that, we had so much in common. There was fantastic conversation, right? That we had that clear chemistry, right? So for me, the communication was there, the conversation was on point, the connection was on point. So I was like, yes, tick. But yeah, so I mean, you can have that with a guy, but that is not enough to get into the dating stage if you're still in the talking stage. So what was my number two? Number two was there was an alignment. Yes, we were in alignment, and because I understood that there was an alignment through the conversation. So that was number one, that connection, right? And through our communication and daily conversations, his intentionality, I was able to realize, okay, this guy and I are compatible. There's an alignment, in terms of purpose. I was able to ask him so many questions. Where do you see yourself in 5 years and 10 years? And he was answering my questions. I was answering his questions also. In terms of career, I'll give you an example. I knew I wanted to study medicine. I was going to practice. I knew I wanted to practice medicine. I didn't want to be a that or stay at home mom. Not that something is wrong with that, but I mean that was my own desire. And I remember that I did ask my, well, not my husband, but then he was talking still like, oh, what would you like your wife, to do? Would you like her or to become? Would you like her to be a stay-at-home woman, or would you support her she was a career woman? I was just asking general questions, with no strings attached. And his answer was like, yay! He said whatever his wife wants to do, he will support her. He would not lord his desires over her. I was like, dick. So there was an alignment. He knew where he was going to. At the time, he wasn't purpose preacher. He used to call himself dynamic professor, right? He said he wanted to become a professor. He used to write a lot of poems. He had this blog where he used to write lots of poems and things like that. He was sharing with me. So I saw a man that was on a journey. So in fact, years after what he is or who he is right now, I'm not surprised, because I knew that at the time he was a man of vision. He was sharing his vision with me, and I could picture my future in his future. I picture myself in his future, right? I could picture my future also in his future. So there was an alignment also in our values. I value respect, I value honesty, I value loyalty, and our values aligned, so I was like, yeah, he was a child of God, he was born again. See, if you're a child of God as a woman, right, please do not get yourself entangled with an unbeliever. That is a no. There is no alignment there, so just run for your life. Don't say, oh, there's already chemistry, there's already connection, and you only want to base your life on only connection. No, that is not enough. Okay, so do not do that. So there must be alignment of purpose, alignment in faith, alignment in career. I mean, it doesn't mean that both of you have much compatibility, or alignment doesn't mean that you have to be similar. It just means that both of you can work together in spite of your sometimes differences, like in personality, but both of you can work together. But there are some alignments that you cannot even you cannot compromise on, and one of those things that you cannot and you must not compromise on is alignment in faith. That is a known, you must not compromise on it. Okay, that spiritual alignment must be ticked, it must be checked. So for me, that was number 2. He was a child of God. He was born again, and he was walking in purpose at the time. He was walking towards his dream, towards his future. He was serving God, where he was. And I was like, this guy is sweeping me off my feet. Oh, anyway, so that was number 2 for me. Number 3 for me, that's the last one for me. And this, I think for me, this was very major, is conviction. I will say this is CAC, like CAC. So C is for connection, A for alignment, and C for conviction. Conviction was it for me. So I knew for some reason, I believe it was the Holy Spirit. My pastor, who is now my husband, would say, oh, don't say something told you. Something did not tell you. You have the Holy Spirit, a child of God inside you, so don't say something. The Holy Spirit told me, this is your husband, right? And this was when, I think it was about the first time I had a chat with him on Yahoo Messenger. Back in those days, it was Yahoo Messenger. I don't think we have Yahoo Messenger anymore. Anyways, and I was like, I had to tell God to give me different signs, if he's my husband, let him be this, is my husband, let him be that, just to confirm, right, that is my husband. And yes, apart from that, I also prayed, and God gave me a word. So by the time he formally asked me to be his girlfriend, or told me, oh, I would like us to get into a relationship, I see a future with us, and blah blah blah, how those lines. Anyway, so by the time we officially started dating, right, and he told me about his intentions, then I went to pray, and God gave me a word for us. So that conviction was what made me to get into it, because guess what, I had not even seen him. How can you say yes to a guy that you've not even seen face to face? Like, that's not you, okay? But that was the conviction for me. And so I went into it with God's instructions, with God's backing, despite not seeing him. And guess what, I did not see him until 2.5 years after I had said yes to him. What? I'm telling you. Well, that was it. And even though some people say, oh, but how would you know what he's doing, where he is? How would he know what you are doing, where you are? Long distance relationship. Ours was a journey of faith. And there was no time where I was worried or whatever, because I knew God was in it. God had spoken to him, God spoke to me, and I rode and stood on that conviction, and I had so much peace. Okay, so my encouragement to you watching me is do not say yes to that guy unless you have received your own conviction, right? And also, in terms of conviction, make sure that the guy has actually genuinely, as in he has said, he has disclosed to you, his intention. Like he has told you, you're not the one that is just making assumptions or having expectations that he will do this, he will say yes, he will no, that he will propose to me, or no. Make sure that that guy has shown that commitment. Also, he has said, he has expressed the commitment to you, because there's some guys that are time wasters, will just be hovering over you like butterflies or like housefly, but they're not saying anything. They're not opening their mouth to actually say, would you be my girlfriend, would you be my fiance, I want to marry. They're not proposing, doing nothing about it, but they're doing everything around it, but no commitment, no conviction. So please do not say yes to that guy, if you haven't seen these three things, the CAC. Okay, I hope that you have found this helpful. This is my own personal story and this is my own experience, but I think and I believe that it will definitely be of help to you. And if it has been of help to you, let me know in the comment section. Okay, I hope this has been a blessing. Until I see you next time, my name is Blessing Ikundayo. I'm the confident woman. Keep walking in confidence. God bless you and bye for now.